The Marvel Cinematic Universe, as we've known it for almost 20 years, is ending soon with Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. And I know that many of you have checked out for a while now, or simply don't remember the entirety of this saga anymore. Let me reassure you, that's normal, especially now with the multiverse. It's not just 37 movies and 18 series you have to catch up on, which is already huge. But really, about 60 movies and mini-series, canon or not, who even knows now? In short, it's a mess. But here's the thing. Next summer, Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day comes out, followed by the two most expensive Avengers movies ever made. Movies directed by the Russo brothers under the supervision of Kevin Feige, who have a strong taste for lore, meta, and hidden references. Yes, Infinity War and Endgame are still movies that I study, and even today I keep finding details that have been hidden for years. So imagine those two movies. They will be the conclusion not just of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but of everything Marvel has produced since Kevin Feige started his career. Maybe even earlier than that. Let's be clear, it's nearly impossible to rewatch everything. Because if you add everything up, it's about 444 hours. That's 18 days and 12 hours non-stop, without eating, without showering, without sleeping. So, if you want to catch up, let's say by spending about 3 hours each evening, it'll take you around 148 more days. So, let's be honest, you have to be tough or really choose carefully what to watch. And that's why you're following me, because this video has a simple goal, to help you make the right choices. Or if you're feeling lazy, here's a quick summary of the Marvel Universe. Whether you want to discover the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the first time before Doomsday, or just rewatch the saga, I'll guide you with a red color code system. The must-see projects, if you skip them, you might not understand what comes next. Orange, important, but not essential projects. If you're in a rush and aiming for yellow, those are the fun projects. Interesting for fans, but let's be honest, not essential. And finally, green. Projects you can definitely skip without any problem. They occasionally add a small extra, but nothing major. If you want to rush, pick red. For full understanding, choose red and orange. Fans should use red, orange, and yellow. And if you're a lunatic like me, well, you've got 444 hours. This code lets you efficiently organize your Marvel marathon. Since we'll explore both the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the multiverse, this list is obviously not exhaustive. We're going to follow both a chronological order and also an order that I think is practical for watching. In this video, we'll avoid spoilers, so there won't be a spoiler zone. But you're here with Kevin Buckott, soon to be your friend's favorite theorist, not your favorite Marvel fan yet. Let's start the intro. Infinity Saga, the origins. Alright, I hope you're comfortable because we're starting off calmly with the origins of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It all starts with Captain America, the first Avenger, set in World War II, where Hydra, a Nazi science group, battles American forces. Learn how Steve Rogers, a frail Brooklyn native, becomes the legendary symbol of Captain America as a super soldier. You will also meet Howard Stark, the father of a certain Tony, who doesn't exist yet, but whom we will get to know later. Explore his bond with Peggy Carter, his true love, and his best friend Bucky, who faces a tragic fate. The movie also introduces the villain Red Skull, whom we will see again much later, and especially the Tesseract, a central blue cube-shaped artifact. In the Infinity Saga, covering movies from Captain America to Avengers Endgame, Steve Rogers is frozen in ice and found 70 years later in 2011, where he meets Nick Fury, a key strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division agent. Following that are the adventures of Peggy Carter, who became an agent of the future Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division in the 1940s. We see her again after Steve's disappearance in a short film and then in her series Agent Carter. Over 2 seasons, the first season is quite successful, while the second is a bit more dispensable. But the Agent Carter projects aren't really essential anyway, especially since the series isn't really considered canon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That being said, they allow you to get to know an important character better, and it's always a good addition if you like the universe. Next, you can dive into the 90s. Captain Marvel tells how Carol Danvers, an Air Force pilot, becomes one of the universe's most powerful beings. In this movie, you'll see Nick Fury and a younger Coulson, both Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division agents. The story once again revolves around the Tesseract, and this time a cosmic war between 2 alien species, the Kree and the Skrulls. It's a necessary step, though not immediately useful. A little girl also plays an important role. Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Carol's best friend, now gives way to Iron Man, the very first Marvel Cinematic Universe film, which takes place in 2008. It's essential because it introduces Tony Stark, likely the Marvel Cinematic Universe's most important character. The film shows his journey from a selfish billionaire arms dealer to a real hero in armor. It's the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We meet Pepper Potts, his assistant and love interest, Happy, his buddy and driver, Jarvis, his AI, and James Rhodes, his best friend. And above all, the post-credits scene, where Nick Fury appears once again, already mentioning the idea of a project bringing heroes together as a group, the Avengers. You can then move on to Iron Man 2, whose events take place directly afterward. The film delves deeper into Tony's relationship with his father and introduces the new version of James Rhodes, now played by Don Cheadle, who becomes War Machine, an armored ally. But most importantly, we are introduced to Natasha Romanoff, an elite strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division agent who will become an extremely iconic character. These two films lay essential groundwork for what's to come. Next comes The Incredible Hulk, long considered secondary and set aside. This film is becoming important, again, mainly due to recent Marvel Cinematic Universe references. Hulk was originally played by Edward Norton, then replaced by Mark Ruffalo. From his next appearance, the film is key to understanding Hulk's origins and his battle with his alter ego. It also introduces General Ross, played by William Hurt, who returns later, and Samuel Stern. Betty Ross is Bruce's partner, and Abomination, or Emil Blansky, is the film's villain. Next, I either recommend or don't recommend 2 short 4-minute one-shots. The Consultant, where Coulson and a specific colleague discuss the Avengers initiative about the Hulk's villain. And a funny thing happened on the way to Thor's hammer tells a brief story about Coulson on his way to a certain hammer. And actually, that makes the perfect connection with the next movie, Thor. This is where we discover the god of thunder in his mythical kingdom of Asgard. Alongside his father, Odin, his mother Frigga, his friends, and especially his brother Loki, the god of mischief. His psychology and wounds are established in this first movie, making him a pillar of the universe. We also meet Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, who falls for Thor. It's generally not the fans' favorite movie, but it's still essential to the overall understanding of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Also, Clint Barton, known as Hawkeye, makes his first appearance here. Here we get to the masterstroke of Marvel Studios' Avengers. It's the first time that all these heroes, Chris Evans as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, Nick Fury unites Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow and Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye to defend Earth from an alien invasion. These previously scattered characters finally unite, bringing everything together. Loki, sent by Thanos, the main Marvel villain, leads the army attack to retrieve the Tesseract. The film is a truly epic, iconic event carried by a memorable soundtrack composed by Alan Silvestri. It also signals an even larger universe is being built. At this point, you should be enjoying the world. Post-Avengers, we now move on to a well-established universe with a large number of characters. Item 47 is an optional short film about an ordinary couple who find a Chitauri weapon. It's honestly unnecessary. The aliens invading Earth in Avengers. After the Battle of New York, which is called that because it takes place in New York, following the events of Avengers. Marvel's Agent of Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement and Logistics Division follows Agent Coulson and his team as they handle paranormal phenomena and metahumans. The first season directly follows Avengers 1 and was cool and worth watching at the time, though not essential. Next, you can move on to Thor: The Dark World, considered by many to be one of the worst movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but still a must-see. Because it introduces the ether, a mysterious red substance that holds much more than you might think, and that you'll see again later. Iron Man 3 finishes the trilogy, a film people either love or hate. Decide for yourself. Tony is haunted by the Battle of New York, can't sleep, obsessively builds suits, and now confronts his own demons. A Christmas movie with an antagonist who is not at all who you think. A short film actually continues this character's story, the King, focused on Trayvon Slattery, the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. I won't say more, it's not essential, but it explains where we find him. Later we continue with one of my personal favorites, my favorite movie, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The movie depicts Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement and Logistics Division's downfall after Hydra's infiltration set amid a global conspiracy. Robert Redford shines as Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement and Logistics Division is enigmatic leader, Nick Fury's sole superior. The film also features Natasha Romanoff, introduces the Falcon, Sam Wilson, and brings back Bucky, who everyone thought was dead, but actually became a brainwashed assassin, the Winter Soldier. It's a must-see that has a major impact on the whole universe, since one of the central institutions collapses as you watch it. Season 2 of Agents of Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement and Logistics Division takes place at the same time and shows the behind the scenes of this collapse, as well as the future of a wounded organization. The rest no need to go into detail. The series will continue with uneven seasons, notably exploring the Inhumans who were later abandoned by Marvel Studios. And Season 4 with Ghost Rider is one of the best and briefly touches on the consequences. But starting from Season 3, the series gradually drifts away from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and there's really no need to keep following it. Alongside the movies, let's talk about a giant, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Director James Gunn introduces this team and delivers a vibrant film packed with humor, iconic songs, and a perfect cast. Each character is endearing. Star-Lord, the loser, Rocket, the tinkering raccoon, Groot, the talking tree, Drax, the brute, and Gamora, Thanos' daughter who betrays him. Galactic mercenaries unite to stop Ronan, Thanos' renegade henchman, trying to seize an Infinity Stone, the Power Stone. It's also here that we discover the quest for the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet, but also the rivalry between Gamora and her sister Nebula, who is jealous of always being the child neglected by Thanos. You can then go straight to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which happens immediately after. There we meet Peter Quill's father, Ego, a living planet, and Mantis, his servant, joins the team. Nebula and Gamora make up, and the film ends with a tragic death I won't reveal here. Next, I won't insult you by recommending I Am Groot, the series of short films. It's cute, but totally useless. I didn't finish it. If you like Groot, watch it. Otherwise, skip. Next is Daredevil, about Matt Murdock, a blind lawyer by day and vigilante by night in Hell's Kitchen, New York. It's a dark hit series where Matt confronts Wilson Fisk, the New York mafia baron. You can follow up with Jessica Jones Season 1, a retired superhero turned private detective who faces one of the best villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the terrifying Killgrave. So, these series are important but not essential. They were first broadcast on Netflix and were only considered canon very recently. Let's move on to Avengers. Age of Ultron, a crucial movie. Tony Stark and Bruce Banner create an AI to protect the world, but it turns against humanity, Ultron. We meet Wanda and Pietro Maximoff, twins with devastating powers. She controls minds, he moves at lightning speed, and this Wanda will quickly become very important. For obvious reasons, it's also when Vision, a synthetic being made with the Infinity Stone from the Chitauri scepter, was created. The three join the Avengers to defend Sokovia from Ultron. Next, Scott Lang, or Ant-Man, enters the scene. A failed handyman and divorced father who gets out of prison and attempts a burglary that will change his life. He meets Hank Pym, the inventor of miniaturization technology, and with the help of Hope, Hank's daughter, he tries to stop Darren Cross, who wants to seize this invention. A must-see film that introduces the quantum realm, a subatomic world crucial to the Marvel Cinematic Universe's future. Next, watch Daredevil Season 2, featuring Frank Castle, the Punisher, who later gets his own series. Then, Luke Cage Season 1 focused on a man with indestructible skin facing gang wars in Harlem. Lastly, my least favorite is Iron Fist Season 1, about a billionaire heir and martial arts master who channels Chai through his fists. Once again, these series are optional to understand the overall universe, but they are now canon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These stories lead to the Defenders series, uniting Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Daredevil. Disappointing to some, pleasantly surprising to others. If you've watched the Solo series, they're essential to understand what's next, especially Daredevil Season 3. The breakup of the Avengers, we're getting to something really important here, what is often called Avengers 2.5. Captain America. Civil War depicts an internal conflict among the heroes. Should they be controlled and trained by the government, led by General Ross, or stay independent? On one side, Team Captain America, made up of Steve, Bucky, Sam Wilson, Wanda, Ant-Man, and Hawkeye, who become fugitives. And on the other side, Team Tony Stark, made up of Tony, Natasha, Rhodes, Vision, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. This is where T'Challa, the Prince of Wakanda, makes his first appearance and witnesses the death of his father, killed during an attack orchestrated by Zemo. Zemo's goal is to push the Avengers to tear each other apart, because he holds them responsible for the death of his family during the Battle of Sokovia, and above all, he will reveal a terrible truth. Bucky, as the Winter Soldier, killed Tony's parents. A revelation ends Steve and Tony's relationship and splits the Avengers. In this movie, we meet Peter Parker, recruited by Tony, and see the start of their mentor-student relationship. With Iron Man, Wanda, and Vision become closer, while Peggy Carter dies peacefully. A movie that obviously didn't include Thor and Hulk, who are way too powerful to join the fight and who aren't on Earth. At the end of Avengers, Banner drifted into space. After this, you can watch Black Widow, which follows Natasha after Civil War. Having become a fugitive, she tries to put an end to the demons of her past. With her adoptive family, Yelena Belova, her sister and fellow Black Widow, and their parents, Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian, Soviet super soldier, and Milena Vostokov. Together, they put an end to the Red Room, a training center that turned young girls into assassins, of which Yelena was a victim. Before getting into Black Panther, you can take a look, if you want, at Eyes of Wakanda, a short animated series about the country's past history. But honestly, it's not necessary. Black Panther introduces Wakanda, a secret, advanced African kingdom hidden due to its valuable resource, vibranium. After becoming king, T'Challa must face Killmonger, his long-lost cousin, who comes to challenge the throne and shake up Wakanda's philosophy. After covering one hero from Civil War, we now discuss the other, Spider-Man. Homecoming follows Peter Parker balancing high school and life as Spider-Man. With Aunt May and friend Ned by his side, he confronts the Vulture, an alien arms dealer who is also Liz's father. Peter aims to show mentor Tony Stark that he's ready to be an Avenger. Next is The Punisher Season 1, where Frank Castle hunts and eliminates his family's killers one by one. Brutal, efficient, everything we love. And now, the unmissable Doctor Strange. Stephen Strange, a brilliant but arrogant surgeon, sees his career shattered by an accident. Seeking healing, he joins an order of sorcerers and becomes one of their most powerful members. The movie introduces the Time Stone, guarded by mystical masters, a key element for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you started the Netflix series, continue here. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist each have a second season, followed by Daredevil Season 3, which covers the Kingpin's return after his defeat in Season 1. It ended with Punisher Season 2 and Jessica Jones Season 3, which are just fillers. Hulk and Thor will be missed, but we see them again in Thor Ragnarok, a refreshing, explosive film. After Odin dies, his daughter Ella, goddess of death, returns and takes over Asgard. She destroys Thor's hammer and exiles his brothers to Sakaar, a planet controlled by the Grandmaster, where gladiator fights take place. And the champion of the arena is none other than Hulk. Thor teams up with Loki, Valkyrie, Korg, and Hulk to save Asgard. A struggle that leads them to trigger Ragnarok, resulting in the destruction of the kingdom, and the survivors set course for Earth. Ant-Man is put under house arrest by the government, which is where Ant-Man and the Wasp starts. Hank, Pym, and Hope, now the Wasp, ask him to help find Janet, Hank's wife and the original Wasp, lost in the quantum realm for decades. They rescue her despite obstacles, mainly Avastar, or Ghost, whose unstable molecules cause pain until Janet soothes her. Without explanation. But anyway, a film that's sometimes underestimated but crucial for what's to come, because the quantum realm will play a major role in the conclusion of the saga. Now we reach Avengers: Infinity War, the epic crossover uniting all the heroes, Guardians of the Galaxy, Wakanda, Spider-Man, Bucky, Doctor Strange, Asgard, and the Avengers. They unite to stop Thanos from seizing the 6 Infinity Stones, with Strange guarding the Time Stone. Vision holds the Mind Stone, and each fights their own battle in this cosmic story. A massive, epic film, possibly the Marvel Cinematic Universe's best, with an ending I won't spoil. By the way, if you haven't seen it, maybe it's time to stop this video now, go watch it, and come back afterward. Never trust anyone. All this leads to Avengers Endgame, the sequel to Infinity War. The Avengers attempt to undo their errors and finally defeat Thanos. On a journey reflecting on all they've experienced since 2008. Together with Infinity War, these films complete all Marvel Cinematic Universe storylines and characters. It's the grand conclusion of the Infinity Saga, also marked by the farewells of some legendary figures. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, just go for it. Well, we've finished the first part of this video. But before we continue, feel free to boost the ranking. YouTube's algorithm changed again, making interactions crucial for video survival. To support this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment. That's the best way to get weekly content. Thank you, team, the Multiverse Saga. Without going into details, the events of Endgame will create alternate realities. In one, a character's destiny changes as he uncovers multiverse secrets, Loki. He will be arrested by the Time Variance Authority, an organization that oversees everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's history and stops new realities from forming. Loki and his female variant, Sylvie, team up with Time Variance Authority agent Mobius to uncover who controls the Time Variance Authority and their real motives. There he meets He Who Remains, a mysterious figure who kept one universe. He kept the sacred timeline to prevent different versions of himself from entering a war that would decimate the multiverse. Then one event changes everything. In Season 2, Loki is lost in time. Traveling between the past and future of the Time Variance Authority, he tries to understand how all realities could coexist and if there's an alternative to He Who Remains. At the journey's end, he replaces him and becomes the god of stories returning to Earth. With WandaVision, we follow Wanda, and this seems to be her family. In a dissonant atmosphere of a past sitcom, we discover that in reality, she is Morning Vision. She used her powers to create a perfect world in Westview, to live happily with children, a brother, husband, etc. While a witch, Agatha Harkness, tries to seize her powers, we also hear about the return of Monica Rambeau. SWORD is an agency similar to S.H.I.E.L.D. You can watch What If, Season 1 here. Some of the episodes are interesting. This series explores alternate scenarios to those in the movies. Honestly, you aren't missing much except maybe Episode 4 about a strange who turns bad. Some characters, like Agent Carter, seem to have been invested in by Marvel for unclear reasons. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings introduces Shang-Chi, whose father, the real Mandarin, leads the Ten Rings criminal organization. Iron Man Shang-Chi travels to Ta Lo to confront his father. Controlled by demons, he eventually gives him the Ten Rings, powerful artifacts with unknown origins. With Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we see Bucky and especially Sam Wilson, who receives Steve Rogers' shield before he disappeared. Sam doesn't feel ready to take on the legacy at first. After defeating the Flag Smashers with Zemo's help, he finally accepts the title of Captain America. Bucky, on his side, tries to face the traumas from when he was the Winter Soldier, before being healed in Wakanda. The series introduces Joaquin Torres, a promising soldier, and Isaiah Bradley, one of the first American super soldiers. John Walker, a good United States Army soldier, is hired as the new Captain America, but later dismissed, after having killed a Flag Smasher who had himself killed his best friend. The Eternals introduced The Eternals, an underrated film that Marvel Studios struggles to acknowledge due to its poor reception. In this story, Celestial Arishem sent the Eternals to Earth thousands of years ago, to protect it from the deviants, failed beings who feed on humans. Their real mission is to enable the birth of a new Celestial, Tiamut, at Earth's core. However, attached to humanity, the Eternals prevent this emergence and Tiamut remains frozen. In the Indian Ocean, we find Peter Parker after the events of Avengers Endgame. On a school trip, he encounters Quentin Beck, also known as Mysterio, a technological threat. He falls for MG, a uniquely spirited girl. And on their side, May and Happy, a former close friend of Tony Stark, grow closer. I suggest rewatching Sam Raimi's 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire and the 2 Amazing Spider-Man films with Andrew Garfield. Not only will this help you place the characters, especially the antagonists present, in the 3rd Spider-Man movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but you'll also appreciate the central role these 2 versions of Peter Parker will likely play in Avengers, Doomsday, and/or Secret Wars, since they are very popular with fans. Many of these 5 movies are well regarded by fans. If you haven't seen them, they're worth watching. You can also, optionally or unnecessarily, watch the universe with movies like Venom, Morbius, Scrabble, The Hunter, or Madame Web. But a friendly tip if you don't want to get disgusted, right? The 3rd Tom Holland film, Spider-Man: No Way Home, doesn't make much story sense, but acts as an anniversary movie. After Mysterio revealed Peter Parker's identity at the end of Far From Home, he asked Doctor Strange to make everyone forget who Spider-Man is. The spell backfires, causing villains and heroes from past movie universes to appear, but they eventually return. In the meantime, May doesn't make it, and Strange makes everyone forget Peter Parker, like literally everyone. Then comes the Hawkeye series, in which Clint Barton trains Kate Bishop, a young and talented archer. Together, they confront the Tracksuit Mafia and Maya Lopez, or Echo, a skilled deaf woman. Yes, you heard that right. All of this takes place under the secret influence of Kingpin, who finally makes his official entrance into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yelena Belova also appears for a few scenes, and above all, it's a Christmas series that will delight some viewers. Personally, I liked it. Next is Stephen Strange's second adventure, where he encounters the Multiverse. Wanda Maximoff attempts to capture America Chavez, who can travel between universes, to reach a reality where her children exist. To protect her, Strange takes her on a chase through several realities until America finally learns to defend herself. Wanda, now the Scarlet Witch, destroys the Illuminati in Universe 838, an alternate world. By the way, to understand who Black Bolt is, it might be helpful to have seen the Inhuman series, but since his appearance is very brief, it's not essential. No, like really not. The movie introduces incursions and universe destruction, with Strange apparently causing one before leaving with Claire. Moon Knight explores Mark Spector's dissociative identity disorder, who splits into Stephen Grant, but also Jake Lockley. He is also Moon Knight, the avatar of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. Mark struggles with his traumas and his past, while facing the leader of a cult, Arthur Harrow. Maybe the most dispensable series of the Disney era. More to understand the events, since it's so isolated, but you might enjoy it. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, is the sequel to the 2018 film with T'Challa, now dead, like his actor Chadwick Boseman. In 2020, Shuri then takes on the role of Black Panther after Namor, the ruler of the underwater kingdom of Talokan, attacks Wakanda and kills Ramonda, T'Challa's mother. Shuri relinquishes the throne, giving Wakanda's sovereignty to M'Baku of the Jabari tribe. Appeared in the first film, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. That's where genius Riri Williams is introduced as Ironheart. Next is the Echo series, which will bore you even if you're wide awake. The only highlight is Daredevil's stylish fight cameo and Kingpin's cliched lines. No one still understands this project about a forgotten secondary character we'll likely never see again. You'll love what's next. Since the awful She-Hulk series is coming after an accident, Bruce Banner's cousin comes into contact with his blood and transforms into a female version of Hulk. The series attempts humor but falls short, using Abomination to discredit, Wong to humiliate, and Daredevil for fan service. And we learn that Hulk has a son on his side named Scar, who has a terrible haircut. In short, the ending and character are a mess, despite the actress's efforts. If possible, do the right thing. Miss Marvel, a colorful teen series, will help you get back on track. With Kamala Khan, a young Muslim from Jersey City, originally from Pakistan, and a fan of Captain Marvel, who discovers a mysterious bracelet that awakens energy manipulating powers in her. Did you like Ragnarok? I'm for her caricature. Thor. Love and Thunder is a movie that goes overboard, with the return of Jane Foster, Thor's hammers fighting each other, and a villain who kidnaps children as the antagonist. The movie doesn't really develop the character, who is just a dark parody of himself here. This movie wraps up Foster's story, at least for now. It pairs a little girl with Thor, but little else changes. Ironheart is the girl we saw in Black Panther 2 who does things we couldn't care less about. That's all there is to say. Plus, she's up against the Hood, and his gang seems to be making a deal with the devil Mephisto. But that's all there is to remember about the series, which isn't terrible either, but will have almost no impact on what's coming next. Let's move on with Werewolf by Night, Marvel's most independent project so far. Basically, it's a werewolf allied with Elsa Bloodstone in a black and white presentation where we also find Man Sing. And honestly, it's a really interesting curiosity, but not necessary. After a Halloween project, the Guardians of the Galaxy return in a special Christmas episode set mainly in their new headquarters, Nowhere. A little treat for the fans, which isn't very important either, but still reveals that Star-Lord is Mantis's brother. Do what you want with that info, it doesn't matter. Next up, the difficult Phase 5. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, supposedly the movie that was supposed to build the biggest villain of the saga, is actually a poorly shot trip with Ant-Man and his family in the quantum realm. With a pretty basic plot that simply consists of escaping Kang the Conqueror, one of the cruelest versions of He Who Remains. We also see Darren Cross, returning as a despicable mental organism designed only for killing. Not enjoyable, but likely important for what's next. To make up for it, we finally get one of the best post-Endgame movies after several average or bad projects. Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie about the team trying to revive Rocket. It's an opportunity to learn more about his origins and his creator, the High Evolutionary. A powerful moving film and a successful conclusion to the trilogy. It leads to a new team made up of Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, another creation of the High Evolutionary. He has the mind of a kid. For now, Philevel and Kraglin, Yondu's magic arrow heir. Star-Lord returns to Earth to live with his grandfather. Mantis sets off alone, and Nebula and Drax remain on Nowhere, now a true Noah's Ark. Well, after some good, we still need a bit of horrible. And that's the case with Secret Invasion, supposedly a tense thriller about this Skrull invasion, teased for years. And when it was released, we can say it is just a huge grotesque flop, with Nick Fury drifting through the story like a ghost. This story could have been amazing in an Avengers movie, but here it's boring throughout. Oh, we do find out that Rhodes was a Skrull for years, which is probably the worst idea, but honestly, we still don't know since when. Nick Fury in a bad project is one thing, but in two, it's even better. So he comes back in the Marvels, a story about the entanglement between Monica Rambeau, Carol Danvers, and Kamala Khan, who switch places when they use their powers. We take three powerful heroines and strip them of their powers. That's basically all to remember about the movie, except Kamala still has both bracelets. The post-credits scene reveals Monica Rambeau is trapped in a universe with the X-Men, which is significant. Whereas What If had a bit of interest in Season 1, Seasons 2 and 3 completely lose theirs. You absolutely shouldn't watch them. No, I'm kidding, but let's just say it's something to spend time on, especially if you have time to waste or not. Agatha Hololong is the direct sequel to WandaVision, following Agatha on a quest along the Witch's Road to reveal her story. Honestly, it's especially enjoyable during Halloween. We also learn more from Billy, Wanda's son, now reincarnated as William Kaplan. Agatha becomes a ghost after being taken by death. Daredevil, born again, will officially bring Matt Murdock into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, pitting Daredevil against the Kingpin once more. He became the mayor of New York, and in this case, yes, it's a necessary step for what's coming next. Captain America, Brave New World shows Sam Wilson fully embracing his role as Captain America, leading missions with the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres. Until a conspiracy involving Samuel Stern and General Ross, the president, is brought to light. Honestly, it's a crazy movie that doesn't really stand out. But it's still less disastrous than some of the movies from 2022 and 2023. Above all, it's still important for what's next. Thunderbolt is a crossover featuring Marvel's underdogs, Ghost, John Walker, Red Guardian, Bucky, and Yelena Belova. All of them are criminals carrying out covert operations, all alone, all more or less depressed. They're going to face a threat that's just like them. Bob Reynolds, used as part of the Superhuman Sentry Project, an incredibly powerful being. But when his dark side takes over, it's the Void who shows up and traps the population in their worst memories. The Thunderbolts will restore Bob and unite. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine then names them the New Avengers, and they become the new official Avengers recognized by the government. The real multiverse. Until now, the saga was called the Multiverse Saga, but we haven't really interacted with the actual multiverse. Now is the time to make a necessary detour to the first movies. Fantastic Four from 2005 and 2007 with the first cast and the first Doctor Doom. First, because they'll surely come back, and then because it'll help you gauge the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Fantastic Four movie. Let's move on to Fantastic Four First Step, where the Fantastic Four debut in Universe 828, a retro-futuristic 1960s world. The 2025 versions of the Invisible Woman, Human Torch, Thing, and Mr. Fantastic. They meet the Silver Surfer, defeat Galactus, and welcome Franklin Richards. His powers seem excessive, and they attract the attention of a certain Victor Von Doom. Next, watch the 2000s movies now known as the Marvel Legacy. This includes the Blade trilogy with Wesley Snipes as a vampire hunter, which, between us, isn't an absolutely essential watch. Before that, there were the terrible Daredevil with Ben Affleck and the Elektra with Jennifer Garner, about which I have nothing to say. Don't watch them, but especially the first X-Men trilogy from Fox, which is essential to watch to get ready for the conclusion of the Multiverse Saga. Many cast members from the 2000s X-Men return in Avengers Doomsday, though likely as different versions. It's interesting to discover or rediscover these characters, understand the hype, and get to know them. Professor Xavier is played by Patrick Stewart, Magneto by Ian McKellen, and Wolverine by Hugh Jackman, among others. To catch up, you could also watch X-Men Origins, Wolverine, though it's the least important, and the Wolverine. Next, X-Men, First Class, and Days of Future Past, two prequels that actually started off really well and are really cool. Next, with some courage, watch X-Men, Apocalypse and X-Men, Dark Phoenix to finish the pre-Marvel Cinematic Universe X-Men series. But again, it's not really necessary. Well, there's also the New Mutants, but watching it won't help you nearly as much. Finish with Logan, which is a real pleasant surprise. In a post-apocalyptic future, where mutants face extinction, Logan, now a limo driver, embarks on a final road trip with Professor Xavier and young X-23, a little Wolverine. Simply put, they are trying to escape a well-known organization from the early X-Men movies. Watch Deadpool 1 and 2 to understand the character, his humor, Vanessa, friends, admiration for Wolverine, and origins. Former cancer patients struggle to survive, and he becomes an immortal, disfigured man obsessed with katanas and guns. That way, you'll be fully ready to watch the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Yes, that's many movies for one, but you'll usually catch most references and characters in Deadpool and Wolverine. Both characters enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe and are sent to the Void by the Time Variance Authority, where variants from past universes go. It's clearly a Fox movie free-for-all. A variant is an alternate version of a person in another universe. They're going to try to escape and get away from the clutches of Cassandra Nova, Xavier's twin sister with insane powers, the Guru of the Void. Gambit, Elektra, Blade, and X-23 will assist them. All's well that ends well. This Logan remains in the Deadpool universe, Universe 10,000. I recommend the 2 Ghost Rider movies with Nicolas Cage for a character who should be in upcoming Avengers films. Well, otherwise, you also have the other animated series not really connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Zombies, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, X-Men 97, etc. etc. If you have to choose, it's not necessary. I think we've covered the main points. Even without mentioning old 80s and 90s movies like Howard the Duck and Nick Fury, we'd never finish. And above all, it has nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so, right? Alright. And for the important upcoming series and movies, obviously keep an eye on The Punisher and Spider-Man Brand New Day or the Vision series, which should be important too. Plus, Wonder Man won't be connected, and there's also Daredevil. Born Again. Season 2. If you're a true fan or just want to see a great animated movie, this is the best one. The animated movies about the Spider-Verse are also a must-watch. You now have a full guide on what to catch up on before the epic Multiverse Saga conclusion. Also, it's an overview of 20 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we've known it, just to remind you. The end will lead to a total reset of the Marvel Universe, opening up to a whole new world where finally all the Marvel characters are brought together. And so finally, a new beginning for new viewers. Let me know in the comments if you want a detailed chronological order of this list. I did this a few years ago, it's actually my most viewed video, but now I could include every movie and series in detail if you're interested. We could do that, for example, at the end of the year. See you next week, same day and time, for a new video. Stay curious. That's the secret to happiness. Bye!